What's up, guys? It's Chad Schleiger from the Wellness Point, your chiropractor. You read the title right. I got fired for poor bedside manner. So we had a female come in. She's been coming here for a little under a month now, and just decided to tell me that she's not coming back anymore because I don't acknowledge any of her problems. And I do that for a reason, because whatever you focus on expands. And if you're constantly focusing on the problem and what's wrong, you'll never find the solution to the issue. So when people walk into my office, it doesn't matter if they're on 15 prescription drugs or they're hunched over with cancer or they can't walk straight. I don't see them with the problem. I see that person healthy and whole and, you know, just living the life that God created them to live without drugs and medication, completely free of anything waking them up and keep them functioning throughout the day. And even though you might see yourself with a problem or sick or with a disease, I don't see it that way, even before it happens. And the reason I do that is because our belief, if we can see something in other people that they don't see inside themselves, over time, our belief system, if that person is truly believing a lie and our belief system is true, truth should override whatever they believe is a lie, and our programming should then change their belief system. And if their belief system changes, their feelings about themselves start to change. And if their feelings start to change, that'll give them the action and the motivation to move forward. And if they do those choices and those actions consistently over time, it of course changes their health. So we're not looking for any type of miracles that happen in this office. Really, all we're trying to do, the miracle is when you learn, when you remember that you weren't created sick and deficient, and that you were created healthy and whole. And when that belief system inside you starts to change, and you stay that consistently over time, that's how health is created, and that's how health happens. There was a guy by the name of, his name was Napoleon Hill. He actually wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, and his son was born without ears. He didn't have a hole, didn't have an apparatus to hear. He was born completely deaf, and his father refused to accept that his son had anything wrong with him, even though friends and parents and teachers all said that you need to be in a special school for the deaf. He felt like his son didn't have anything wrong with him, and he actually wasn't born with a disability. He was actually born with an advantage, because people would talk to him face to face, eye to eye, put hands on him when they communicated, talk slow with them. They felt like his son was actually at an advantage compared to everybody else. So they refused to accept that there was anything wrong. And one night when they were eating dinner and they had the record player playing, his son went over to the record player table and bit the table. And he did that consistently for weeks, and what they found, they noticed, is that he bit the table so he could feel the vibrations and he could actually hear the music. So they started to put their mouth on his skull and they started to speak to him, and he started to learn the language of everything that they were saying through the vibrations of the skull. Later on through school, he went all the way through school. He was able to graduate fine without being able to hear, and they ended up. Science finally got to the point where they had an ear apparatus where they could put a hole inside of his skull, and they put an apparatus in his ear to allow for him to hear. And he ended up becoming a salesman for that company and became one of the most successful salesmen for the company, all because his father refused to accept that his son had a disability. All because his father refused to accept that his son was going to have a label, and saw him in a way that nobody else saw him, spoke life over him, and over time, whether you want to call it a secret or a wonder or a miracle or some type of it's just the word. You know, there's power of life and death in the tongue, and if you keep speaking words of death, death is going to happen. If you keep speaking words of life, a change is going to happen for the good. So, if you fired me because I had poor bedside manner and you want to come back to the office because you see something a little bit differently than what you saw before, that's great. No hard feelings. If you haven't fired me yet, I'm so happy that you're sticking around with this thing and you're in it for, you and your family for the long term. I just appreciate you guys coming in week to week, whether you think you got problems or not. I don't think you have any issues, and we're all in this thing together, getting better. Don't forget to buy a t-shirt. They are $18 for kids and $22 for adults. Every time you make a purchase, it allows for a woman in Haiti to provide for her family and make a livable wage. So don't forget to buy one of those t-shirts, share the love, and it's the easy way to RYF when you're out in the community is just rock one of those shirts out. We'll see you later this week. Thanks for listening.